So the big question is this: how do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. And now for the review of the day. All right, Jake, I can't pronounce Jake's last name, but anyways, Jake gave a 5-star review here, and his tagline is episode 801. Best podcast I've listened to in a very, very, very long time. Awesome insight, and I'm buying the Little Red Book right after this comment. Keep putting out awesome content. He's talking about 801, which is a Jeffrey Gitomer. Yes, one of my favorites. Jeffrey Gitomer. If you haven't heard 801, listen to it. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening.
What's up, Rockstar Nation? My name is Ian Lobos, and I'm filling in for Pat Hyben today. And on our show today, we have an amazing young agent out of the suburbs of Chicago, Megan Beechen, and she is rocking out. She's a 30 under 30 winner from NAR with Realty Executives, and Megan's going to share a ton about her success. She's been in the business 5 years. She's doing extremely well. So really, for all you new agents out there, Megan's going to give us a ton of data and information on how to take action today, how to increase your business. And then for you experienced agents, I've already talked to Megan a bunch, and she's going to add a lot of value to your current business to help you scale. So without further ado, Megan, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be on. Big fan of Real Estate Rockstars. Listened to it for probably about a year now. So a little starstruck when I got asked to be on it myself.
That's awesome.
But thank you. Yeah. And thank you for everything that you guys have provided to me. You had some really cool people on here, so I'm excited to be a part of that.
So let's jump right in, Megan. Like, I want to know about you. Let's tell the audience about you, your background, how you got into real estate. Like, what's that whole path look like for you, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started when I was in school. I went to DePaul University, and I was studying management. And I wasn't really in love with it. Nothing was really sticking. I love business, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So come junior year, we have to get an internship. And the whole thought of like going out there and getting an internship and interviewing was really, really hard for me, because I was at that time probably the shyest person you'll ever meet. And so I was talking about it with my family. My now mother-in-law, she's been a realtor for about 15 years. And she's like, why don't you just help me out? You could be my assistant. We can kind of, make you an intern. And so I was like, yeah, why not? I don't have to go out there and interview. So again, I was super nervous about interviewing, which is funny now because that's pretty much all I do.
Right.
With sellers. So
what were you nervous about with interviewing?
You know what? I don't know. I was just scared of the whole process, meeting, going into a new company and meeting with people. I don't know. Honestly, I was just nervous to I don't know, be impressive, and which is kind of sad, but my confidence wasn't there. My shyness took over.
Well, it's a basic human fear, right? Like not being good enough, not being liked, that's totally normal.
Yeah, I guess. And I really let it, control that aspect of me. And so I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what kind of company I'd even intern with. At that point I was pretty clueless as far as where I was going to take my career.
How old were you at that time?
I was a sophomore, junior in college. So what, like 19.
Okay. Got it.
So, and don't get me wrong, like my work ethic is there. I was working 2 jobs while doing school full time.
Nice.
So I was like working nonstop. Like work ethic has never been an issue for me. It's just meeting people, which
Right.
is whatever. So anyway, you know, my now mother-in-law, she's like, come work for me. You can be my assistant. And, you know, so I was, at that time, I had absolutely no desire to be a realtor. I was like, oh yeah, this isn't for me. But I started working with her. I started taking over a lot of her marketing, a lot of her client retention and getting new clients and prospecting and everything. And I was like, this is kind of interesting. Like, kind of cool. I could do this myself. And
Let's
so
talk about that. Let me just ask you a quick question while you're talking about client retention. I know a lot of agents have that challenge. How are you, like, what kind of systems, what kind of strategies were you using for client retention?
So for Kathy, I was, I actually, I thought of, like, you know, during the fall, one year we went to a pumpkin patch and we got a bunch of pumpkins and I decorated them.
Yeah.
And I put a little sign in them that said, thank you so much for being a client. Please keep me in mind, you know, and like I decorated them really nice. They were beautiful. And then we'd go and drop them off to our clients.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of like, what can I do to stay in touch with her clients? And again, you know, I didn't do it as passionately as I do now because they weren't my clients.
Right.
But just little things like that, like, you know, what can I do to kind of step outside the box? And so that's kind of where it started for me. And I started to realize that, like, you know, I could do this for myself. All these things that I'm doing for Kathy, I could, you know, create on my own and I could be really good at this. So I ended up dropping the management degree and I picked up real estate. So I ended up double majoring real estate and marketing. And I graduated on a Sunday afternoon and I was in my pre-licensing class Monday morning at 8 a.m.
Nice.
So I did the accelerated one. I was in it for a week, 8 to 5, took my test and just literally hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I think I officially started in July of 2014 and I had done about 4 transactions by the time December came around. So I really kind of took off running.
Sure.
I was blessed because I already knew the MLS. I already knew how to interact with clients, how to market, how to look for expireds for sale by owners. So I just jumped in and I did that 24/7 nonstop. Everything was real estate, every aspect of my life. So that was kind of how I started. And obviously, you know, the years that followed, I just kind of kept going. And in the last 2-3 years, I've kind of broadened my horizons within the industry. And I've really kind of shifted to being really involved at my association. So I'm on our Young Professionals Network. I'm on the Government Affairs Committee. I'm on the Education Advisory Committee. I do a lot within the industry. And I think that that's only really helped me kind of grow and expand that way too. So
you recommend that for agents that are kind of, you know, they're in the business, but they're kind of not in the business, like to get more involved with your local board?
Yes,
okay.
I do so much, especially like I'm going to touch on YPN for a second, Young Professional Network. I'm a huge advocate for YPN because new agents and even people who are newer to the business, they don't know where to start, right? And sometimes you don't have the mentors. Like I was blessed. I had 2 very good mentors. My mother-in-law, obviously, and then another agent in our office who's still to this day the most successful agent that I know. She just kind of took me under her wing. And so having those mentors was great, but I understand that not everybody has that. So it's kind of a way to be a mentor for people who are just starting out and giving them education and giving them networking and letting them kind of ask their questions. And so it's so beneficial for new. And it's also beneficial for people who are in it. You know, I still get things from the seminars that we do. And obviously there's a lot of takeaway for, I think, any agent in any phase of their business. But
wait, were you married in college?
No.
Okay. You said mother-in-law. So like, okay.
She's now my mother-in-law. My husband and I started dating in 8th grade. So
got it. Okay. So you
all
right.
Been in the family for a very long time. But
I just want to get that cleared up.
Yeah.
So then
get married in college.
So then you started building your business. How did you start building your business? What were you going after? Were you doing FSBOs and expireds? Yeah,
it started with that. So what I pride myself on is from the beginning, I really did treat it like a business. I knew this was like a startup.
What's that mean exactly?
Well, you know, I didn't expect to get anything out of it for the first year or so. I had very realistic expectations. I was like, you know, I might not have a check for 6 to 9 months, you know, and so before starting, I had saved up a lot of money. I was waitressing, so I had a pretty good nest egg saved up for the cost that I knew, because I didn't have anything. I needed to buy all my signs, my suits, my GPS, my computer, everything. Like, I started from scratch, and you have to have a lot of money to invest in this from the get-go.
Right.
So I really did kind of start up with that mindset. Like, this is a brand new business, and I have to really work at it to see any kind of return, especially in that first couple of years.
Sure.
So that's definitely how I treated it. And I think that was a really good thing.
All right, Megan. So I want you to tell our audience a little bit more about your business. Your volume last year, how many houses did you sell?
So in the last 12 months, so from June to June, I sold 36 units,
Okay.
transactions, and it totaled 10.1. For all of 2018, I did about 8.3. So I'm on track to do better than I did last year, hopefully. And yeah.
And then, like, GCI wise, if you're comfortable talking about that, like, what's your gross commissions on that?
Totally. It was just under 200K.
Okay.
It was about 189 last year in 2018. So again, hoping to get that up a little bit.
So let's talk about that, because at 10 million, making less than 200,000, and you're not on a team, it's just you, just to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
So your splits are less than 2%, or your commissions less than 2%?
No, I typically, I don't know.
Do you know what your profit margin was? Like, after all expenses?
It was 60%, with not including my
Salary.
my salary that
Yep.
I pay myself. So my expenses were somewhere around 73. Now again, maybe that's why there's a mix up, because I did 8.3 in 2018.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, sorry. Got it.
But in the last 12 months,
right.
I've done, I calculated, June to June.
Sure.
And that's 10.1. But
Got it.
in
Okay.
all of 2018, it was 8.3.
It makes more sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, are you handling buyers and listings? You just doing buyers? Yes. What's your split there?
Both. I do about, last year in 2018, I calculated it was about 58% sellers.
Got it.
And I think so far this year it's about 64, but obviously that could even out. I do like to keep an even mix. I think, I genuinely enjoy working with buyers and with sellers. I'm really good at working with sellers. I will say I get it, and I think I do really good marketing, and I really go to bat for the sellers. So that part of it kind of comes easy to me.
Sure.
Working with buyers is challenging, but it's also so rewarding.
I know.
Like working with people and moving them into the place that's going to be like the backdrop of their lives. Like every single, their home, giving them that home feeling, like there's nothing better than that. So I love working with buyers too. And I think staying on top of working with both sellers and buyers kind of keeps me relevant in both.
Yeah.
Because I can sit down and talk to a seller and say, this is what the buyers are looking for. I just had last week, this is what my buyer mentioned to me, and vice versa. When I'm presenting offers, I can say, this is what a seller wants to see in your offer,
Exactly.
And I think it's a healthy mix.
So you'd recommend to agents out there that they do a healthy mix of both. That way they know what the other side is expecting and or going to be bringing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah. But it's not for everyone, because some people, really do, like, they hate working with buyers. So I don't necessarily recommend you work with buyers if you hate it, because you're not doing anybody any good. But I think if you love working with buyers too, then a healthy mix just keeps you relevant.
So besides that, why else do you love this business? Like, why do you stay in this business?
Oh my gosh, it's so many reasons. I started and I never looked back. It is the perfect career for me, and I think so many other people. I love being my own boss. But that, again, is not for everybody. Like, you got to wake yourself up in the morning and you got to get going and drive yourself. And I was never a person who had a boss needed to kind of tell me what to do. I would always do it and excel. And, so being my own boss is just so rewarding for me. And they say, you get to make your own hours. I ended up working 24/7, honest to God, anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of us did in the beginning.
Right. But it's, since then, now that I've got more of my business has shifted more to referrals. And I've kind of off, I've kind of, what am I,
Outsourced?
outsourced.
Yeah.
I've kind of outsourced the whole farming. I still do it, but I have assistants who does it. But since then I've been able to kind of do things that I love to travel. So my husband and we went to New Zealand last year, and we
Nice.
camped in New Zealand. Like, you can't do that with most careers.
No.
You can't just take off 2 weeks and work, from a camper van in New Zealand. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So I just love the flexibility. I love being my own boss. And I love that there's no cap on how
much
what you can do. I could literally, if I want to put way more time in than I already do, I could, double my business, and, there's no one stopping me. So
Sure.
It's a really cool aspect, in my opinion.
You mentioned something about, like, you got to get yourself up in the morning and push yourself and drive yourself. I want to ask you real quick, what's your morning routine look like? Like, what do you do for personal development? How do you grow yourself? So give me your typical morning routine. And then what do you do, like books and podcasts? Obviously you listen to Real Estate Rockstars. Like, what else do you do to grow yourself?
Good question. I'm kind of still developing that. I'm full disclaimer, I am not a morning person. I think anybody who knows me knows that. So, like, I'm not your person who's waking up at 5 or 6 and, like, meditating and reading and then, working out. That's not me.
Got it.
So I wake up and I try and, I take me time, obviously, and then I just jump right into it. I'll answer phone calls, emails, and then, podcasts are huge for me. I like to read, but it's not always easy to do, or,
You do Audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then, like, the podcast, I kind of alternate, 4 or 5 different podcasts, and every day I get in the car and I listen to my podcast. I have my coffee, listen to my podcast, and it puts me in a space that, like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tackle this day. And sometimes, it's non-real estate related too. I listen to a lot of motivational podcasts.
Sure. What's your favorite
Chopra. Right now I'm listening to, why is it escaping me?
You mentioned Deepak Chopra.
I do
listen to that one. Cool. I listen to that one too.
Yeah. I love just stepping outside of the routine and just, like, reserving a space for, like, expanding myself spiritually and being a better person. So it's not just real estate related. That is one thing that I've incorporated into my mornings lately that I'm kind of digging. So
I love that. It's what do you think about work-life balance? Like, there's everybody talks about it. In the real estate business, we both know, and a lot of people listening know, that a lot of times you don't have that. You have to make it, or it will run you. It'll run you all day long. I mean, look at how many times we got interrupted on this call because I've got emergency, settlements. It's crazy. So like, how do you balance your life? Like, how do you make sure that you've got enough me time and enough work time?
tribeofmillionaires.com. Guys, write that down. Rockstar Nation got a free special offer for you. Now, I've just written a book, and it's just been published. Co-authored it with David Osborne, who's been on this show multiple times. If you don't know David, he is one of the top execs at Keller Williams Real Estate, was personally mentored for the last 2 decades by Gary Keller himself, and he's in all kinds of businesses. His bio and explanation and everything is in this book. But anyways, David and I got together. We decided to write a book. We called it Tribe of Millionaires. And I guarantee you it's going to change your life. To find out more, just go to tribeofmillionaires.com. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Only thing we ask in return is, of course, number 1, you pay the shipping. Not a big deal. But number 2, that you go on Amazon and write us a review. We're really looking to get an incredible amount of reviews, and because of that, we're giving this book away for free. Go to tribeofmillionaires.com today.
So having things to look forward to, like traveling, for me is huge. Just planning a trip, setting aside that time, and knowing, in October, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks because I'm going to be traveling. It's something for me to look forward to. It helps me go beforehand. And, but also having a good support system is everything. My husband, he's a firefighter, so he works one day and is off 2. And so he's home a lot, but he gets it, and he totally respects, my career, and I can't be successful unless I'm answering the phone sometimes at 8, 9 if I'm negotiating a deal. So if you don't have somebody who supports you in that way, it's a recipe for disaster.
Sure.
But lately I've been kind of stepping back a little bit. I do try, and when I get home, because I don't usually get home from the office until like 7:30, 7:30, I will put my phone in my bedroom and just leave it there. And I'll check on it every hour or so, maybe. But you know what? I've come to find that the world doesn't end when I don't answer the phone every second that it rings, especially after 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Like, so I kind of separate myself and give myself me time, and, we'll have dinner, we'll watch shows, drink wine, whatever. But my phone is not right there blowing up,
How do you, I noticed that in the beginning, I would take calls. I took calls at 2 a.m. once. I took a call at 2 a.m. once, and my wife said to me, like, that's out of control. People should not be calling you at 2 a.m. But I think there's a fear that a lot of agents run with, is that kind of like we talked about in the beginning, that they're going to be replaced, or they're not going to be good enough, or they have to be there for their client at all times. So like, how do you prep your clients to let them know, like, hey, this is my schedule? But I know that telling them your schedule is one thing, but I want to know specifically for those agents that are getting run around by their clients, how do you prep them? How do you talk to them? What do you let them know about your schedule to respect it?
Yeah, I do tell them right off the bat, look, I am going to make myself as available as I can, always. I know how important it is for you. And it's a stressful process for them. So I get that when they're texting me at 9, 10 o'clock, it's something that's been running around their mind for a while at that point. And so I respect that. But I do say, I don't tell them set hours. I never say, I'm not the agent who's like, you can call me 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Because there are some agents in our market who will put, in the remarks, like, any offers presented after 5 or, on the weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not do that?
I kind of feel like, our business is not 9 to 5, and it's certainly not only Monday through Friday. And I don't want to, make anybody mad, but I don't really feel like we're doing our clients the best service that we can.
Sure.
Seller clients or buyer clients, if we have that mindset. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a Monday through Friday. If that's what you want, maybe you should be doing something else that is more structured like that. But, we have to be on when our clients are off. Sure. And I don't really think that it's fair to the clients to work those hours when they might not be available. And then, and with presenting offers and stuff, what if you don't respond to a buyer who submitted an offer on Friday, and then they go and see another house on Sunday and retract their offer, when you could have had that all negotiated and worked out Saturday. So I sometimes think that it can lead to, not doing our clients the best service, but you also have to, have respectable boundaries so that you can give your best to your clients,
Absolutely.
So it's a fine line.
So what do you do for business? What's your sources of business? So obviously you're like kind of 50-50 listings and buyers. What's your biggest source of business, and how do you get that?
Not to touch too much on sphere of influence, because I know everybody obviously works their sphere, but I do think that I have some different ways of going about my sphere that I think because my sphere of influence is most of my business at this point. I really, really, really try to do everything that I can to serve those clients who have trusted me. So I'm constantly thinking, what else can I do for them? How can I thank them? How can I stay in front of them? What can I do? So for anybody who maybe read the 30 Under 30 in the Realtor magazine, my whole piece was about my Thanksgiving pies, which, the whole thing was about my pies. Obviously, I do a lot more than just deliver pies, but that's one thing that I do, and I've done since I started my very first year, is during Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving, I'll get a bunch of pies from Costco. I'll wrap them up in cellophane. I'll put like a really pretty thank you note and my business card and a pretty bow. And I will quite literally drive all over the state for 3-4 days to every past client that's still in the state. I've had a lot of clients move out of state. We're in Illinois, kind of sucks. But it makes this manageable. So it's so rewarding to like stop and see my clients that I may have worked with 4 years ago. I get to see the house. They want to show me what they've done. Their kids have grown. Like, it's like such a cool thing for me to kind of step back and say like, oh,
I like that.
Thank you for your business. Yeah. And
It's
so
simple enough too.
Right. I mean, it's like I said, it's starting to grow into bigger than I can manage. But
right.
But yeah, last year I got 75 pies, I think. And I pick them up on a Sunday. I put them all together and then I load them up in my car and I route it by like areas and I just drive. And it's like, it's just awesome. And I think that, my clients remember me by that. They know now every Thanksgiving I'm going to stop by and give them a pie. And it's kind of cool. So things like that. I'm doing my first client appreciation event this summer, which I'm really excited about. And I just recently created like a private Facebook group for my past clients, where I'll post, like if somebody needs a recommendation for, a professional, I can post that. I can post, relevant articles. I don't spam them by any means, but it's actually kind of cool. One of my clients who's looking for a place just posted in there a couple weeks ago about a specific town. And two of my clients who had lived in that town were commenting all the highlights of what they love about that place. And so it's become interactive. And so I'm just overall, like I spend so much time trying to think of how I can serve those past clients, for the repeat business is huge. And then the referrals and all that. So spend a lot of time on that.
Sure.
Aside from that, I do a lot of farming. Very non-intrusive. I'm not the door knocking type. I think it's amazing for those agents who can get out there and door knock. It's so impressive. But again, going back to, at my heart, I'm a pretty introverted, shy person. So the idea of going on the door.
You think that most agents are? Because I'm like that too. We have an extroverted actor side. When we go home, it's like, down and we're just chilling. Don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to network. I don't want to do any of that. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And like,
refreshing to hear somebody else say that.
Yeah. I can be, you see me in my workday and with clients and you would literally think that I am the most outgoing. I can talk to anybody. And that is me now versus me when I first started real estate. It is a complete, 360 shift. It's just I'm nowhere near the person I was then, which I'm grateful for. But so door knocking was never like, I was like, what else can I do to like provide value to these, these homeowners I'm trying to target? What can I do in a very non-intrusive way? So I got into creating postcards, and I don't do just like chintzy little, shitty little postcards. I do. I don't know if I can swear. Sorry about that.
It's the internet. You can do whatever you want.
Okay. But I make big, 10x7 glossy, professional looking postcards about whatever, just listed, just sold. Here's the market activity in your specific subdivision. And I send them out via every door direct mail. And I spend no less than $1,000 to $1,500 per postcard campaign.
A month?
Not just a month, just per campaign. So I probably do 2 a month.
Okay.
Probably. So, I spend a lot of money with it, but I've had really good returns. And then another thing that I do is like composing kind of a market overview for that specific subdivision and then mailing it out to every house with a letter like, here's what's going on in your market in case you were curious. And don't get me wrong, it's expensive. It's probably like $250 per package.
Yeah.
Not including like printing or anything like that, just mailing.
$2.50.
Yeah.
How big's your farm?
Sorry. Pretty big.
Thousands?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't refine myself just geographically or just one style of home. I really do try to keep a broad perspective. Sure. I market different neighborhoods in different towns, different styles, different price points. And then I just really hit them hard. So it's broad, but at the same time, I feel like if I'm consistent with it, it doesn't matter that it's not my.
That's the key though, isn't it? Consistency is definitely the key. How did you pick your farm?
I started with like, the subdivisions that I worked, like I'd have sales in for buyers, right? So I could send out like I just sold this, and then that kind of, becomes one of my firms. But I do some subdivisions that are close to my home. I do some subdivisions that are close to my office, different towns.
Yeah.
And I kind of just like, I'll go on the MLS and I'll see, in the last 3 months in all of, this town, where have the most sales been happening? What subdivision has had the most activity? And then I'll add them to the list. But again, either I've sold in there, I've listed in there, or, if I'm thinking of a new place, then I might go to the MLS. But
that's awesome.
Very
I
broad.
love it. So let me ask you something. There's an agent right now listening to this that is just getting started, or they've been in 6 months and they're like, man, I don't know about this. I haven't gotten a sale. I don't know what to do. Maybe they're at a brokerage that really doesn't train them, which is a lot of brokerages, frankly. And like, what's a great piece of advice? I mean, you're like high caliber. I mean, 30 under 30 is no joke. That's national. So just for anybody who's wondering, Megan is like I said in the beginning, a National Association of Realtors 30 under 30 winner. So this is high caliber. So what do you think somebody can do right now? Like literally today, they're listening to the podcast at 8 a.m. and they get into their office and they go, take an action. What's that look like?
Put together one of those market overviews, pick a subdivision, create just a general market summary, keep it, no more than 10 pages probably. Show them what's been selling and what's active in their market. Type up a letter like, hey, I work your neighborhood. I'd be, honored to have you a chance to interview, put in your realtor profile and mail that out. Yes, it's costly, but this business is costly if you want to succeed. You have
Can they door knock it?
They can door knock it.
Yeah.
But,
that's costly.
You got to leave it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to leave it at the door, if they don't answer, which probably most won't.
Sure.
So yeah, door knock it. But yeah, just put together valuable information that people, I get calls like, hey, I'm not looking to sell, but this information, like, thank you so much. Like, I'm going to hang on to this. I'm going to keep your name. So there have been people who have called me 2 years later, like, got your, packet 2 years ago. I'd love to, I'm looking to sell now, would love to interview with you kind of thing. So it does go a long way. So yes, it's expensive, but do that. That requires no,
it's printing.
You don't have to have, it's printing. You don't have to have like a whole bunch of experience behind you or rewards or certifications. You just gotta, here's some valuable information. I'm here if you need me.
What's your frequency? How far do you go back? Is it a year? And then what's your frequency to deliver it? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it every month?
Every year. I'll do them
once
annually.
a year. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Right. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
No, and I think I calculated it since 2017. I think I've sent out 5,500 packages.
Okay.
Total. So, most subdivisions are somewhere between that 300 to 500 sweet spot. But yeah.
How do you deal with fear? Because that's something that I think, that agent that we're talking about right now, maybe not the experienced agent, but like, I think even experienced agents, they're going to deal with fear because they're human. Like that experienced agent that just heard you say that and they're like, oh, but I don't have any money. Oh, but I don't want a door knock. Oh, but like, how do you deal with fear? How do you get through it?
Fake it till you make it. Like this business is so much like, you can have all the training in the world, but if you haven't actually been through a deal, it's so daunting. Like, it doesn't matter. You could have read every book and listened to every, podcast and everything. It doesn't matter until you go out there and do it. So, there are things, and I'm sure experienced agents know this too, that they don't know. They might come across something that they've never dealt with.
Sure. And
even the most experienced agents come across that. So honestly, you just have to let your clients know, like, if I don't know something, I'm going to find out for you. Don't lie. But, it's all comes from you. The confidence that you expel, your clients will pick up on that. So just absolutely kind of with financially, make yourself feel like you have money, and then you won't think about money, get a nice suit and show up and, like, appear to be the professional, and it'll,
I love that.
Eventually
Fake it till you make it. Fake it.
Yeah.
You have to. You really have to. You can't.
You do.
I mean, look at a doctor when they're new. Look at like serious professionals that just cannot fail, especially with people or with animals. You got to fake it till you make it. Did you ever have anybody when you were new? Did you ever have anybody ask you how long have you been in the business and it made you like really nervous? Like,
oh yeah.
What'd you
So
say?
that's a really good thing to touch on. When I started, and I still don't do this in any of my print marketing, I do not use my photo. So the only time I'll use my photo is in social media marketing. Aside from that, because, you know, obviously when I just started, I was 22. You know, if I had my face on that postcard, somebody's going to look at that and be like, yeah, great information, but, you know, she's a little young.
Right.
So I didn't ever want to have to deal with that. And so I wanted the first time that they have that, you know, thought in their head to be when I'm meeting them. And by then I'm bombarding them with so much, you know, knowledge and preparation that that thought just disappears. So I prepare, you know, really thorough presentations for every listing appointment I go on.
Yep.
I know what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. And once they kind of get that from me, they don't ever think about my age. And that's gotten me to where I am, because it's really hard to convince, you know, somebody who's 2-3 times your age, you know, hey, I'm going to handle your most important investment. Yeah, absolutely. I just got out of college, and, you know, like, you know, you got to completely
I can do this.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So if you don't, you know, again, it comes from you. If you don't feel like you can do it, they're going to read that all over your face instantly.
Right.
You have to have the confidence and show up. And again, like I said, be professional. Like, I am such a proponent for professionalism in the industry. It's like all I talk about at the association. But show up in a suit. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 suits and that's it because you can't afford it, whatever. But show up in that suit and, you know, really prove that you're a professional. You got to prove your value. You know, they're going to be paying us a lot of money to do what we're doing, and, you know, look the part. So I would always dress and act professionally and show up and know your stuff. And eventually,
so like know the numbers, know the neighborhood, know the listing presentation, and know what questions your seller's about to ask. You know what's really, really cool is in my listing presentation, I put all the seller objections and all the frequently asked questions on the first page. I literally will do my tour through the house. Let's sit at the kitchen table. And then I turn my book around and go, all right, cool, let's get started. I just want to know if you have any of these, we can just get them right out of the way. And in there is like, what's your commission? Will you discount? Like, what do you do for marketing? All that stuff. We're thinking about selling it ourselves, everything. And that's way,
awesome.
You make the, you know, sort of the gorilla in the room that's like sort of spoken in the corner. You bring that to light, and it diffuses the power of those objections once you get through 30 minutes of your listing presentation. You know, and
that's
then at
such
that
a great
point,
tip.
Yeah, and then at that point you can say, and then when the seller says, okay, well, I like all this, how much is it going to cost me? You go, I thought you didn't have a question about that. And then you can kind of joke about it instead of you getting like slammed in the face with like, and now you're like, oh, to get this, I got a discount because they like me. But I always tell new agents, literally walk into a listing appointment and say, do you want to talk about commission up front? And then they go, yeah. And you go, cool. I'm not going to, because I want you to see my value first. And I promise you we're going to talk about commission.
That's awesome.
You know?
I love that. And, you know, you have, like, going off of that, you have to be in control of the situation. Because I've met with every kind of seller there is. I know the type, you know, where all they want to know is what's the lowest I can get your commission. And you know what? Like, you have to control it. You have to go in there and prove your worth and take hold of the conversation so that they know that they're not in control of the, because if they feel they're in control of the conversation and, you know, exactly. And, you know, then that's the time that you're like, oh God, do I need to reduce my commission? You know,
Right.
Like, no, have a plan, stick to it, treat every listing appointment the same, and go in there and take charge of that appointment, you know?
Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. That's a title of a comment that I got on my certified listing agent course from Rebus University. It's from Bill Reeg. This is what Bill says. Bill says, looking to take your listing presentation to the next level? I've closed 100 appointments since I took Pat's certified listing agent course. 5 appointments, 5 new clients, 60 days. Boom, do the math. It's worth every single dollar. Thanks, Bill. But listen, guys, I am offering this to you if you haven't already taken it, because so many brokers and teams make their agents take it before they do a single listing appointment. But if you haven't taken it, you can go to rebusuniversity.com and get it now. Now, here's the thing. For 30 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that course. I'm going to give you the buyer agent course, which teaches you how to close every single serious buyer that calls on the phone or emails. The certified team agent course is taught by Jeff Cohn, one of America's top agents, on how to build a team from zero to hero to hundreds and hundreds of units every year, step by step. It's like a 12-hour course, plus 7 other courses. Yes, you heard that right. All for a measly $127 a month. If you were to go to Rebus University and buy these courses individually, it costs you over $10,000. But today, if you go to futureofrealestatetraining.com, that's futureofrealestatetraining.com, you'll learn what Bill Reed did, which is how to close 100% of the listing appointments you go on. Quite impressive. And you'll learn all the other incredible details provided in the 11 5-star courses that are offered. Yeah, it's like all you can eat bazaar. You go in now and you pay $127 a month. If you can eat all 11 courses in 1 month, that's all you pay is $197. This is a bargain, guys. Get it now. Futureofrealestatetraining.com. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode.
Totally.
Prove to them that you're the expert.
100%. There's another tactic. Like if somebody's like, yeah, I would absolutely go with you today if you take a % off. And I'll say, cool. If I give, what do you give? And they'll say, what do you mean? I'll say, do you have 2 houses to sell? And they'll say, and I'll tell you right now, it's actually how I learn about a lot of investment properties that you really just kind of don't know about from within my sphere. If you don't, obviously you don't ask, and they're like, oh, actually, I was thinking about selling my rental. We're moving out of state. Well, I tell you
Perfect.
what, hook me up on this, and I go, I'll hook you up on both. You give me both listings, and now you just kind of doubled your take, which is awesome, and everybody's winning.
Mm-hmm.
What is oh, you know what? I wanted to tell you the first time I was standing in an open house and somebody said to me, you seem to know your stuff. How long you been in this business? And I said, some days it feels like forever. And I stuck with that. And at my first graduation party, I said, I've been in business a year and I want to thank you. I had done really well my first year. I want to thank all of you because it's my first year in business. And 5 people came up to me and they're like, what do you mean it's your first year? And they're like, you told me. And I said, I told you. Some days it feels like forever. And they were
That's awesome.
So I want to talk about how you deal with pain in your business. What's the biggest source of pain in your business? And it can't be like clients or paperwork. It can be paperwork, and I want to know your systems around it. But what's the biggest source of pain you have?
Well, honestly, originally it was time management. Making sense of that work-life balance. But I think that I've kind of gotten a hold of that. And honestly, the biggest source of pain, I would say, is the unprofessional agents out there that you got to deal with.
Absolutely.
It makes all of us, it brings us all down.
Cringe.
Don't they say that a rising tide lifts all ships?
Yep.
I think that's so relevant in our job. It's just because, dealing we in our market, I don't know if this is everywhere, but we've had a lot of agents accessing properties without appointments, going in using the central lock box and just letting themselves in because they know that it's vacant. And there's a lot of just unprofessionalism going on,
right?
And in the way that they, I just it's definitely an issue, and it makes us look not like the professionals that we need to come off as.
How do you fix that pain though? Actually, let me give you another question within there. So how do you fix that pain point? One, because that's worldwide. You're always going to have people that don't take their job seriously. They're in it for the money. They just are collecting checks. They cannot get themselves to be professionals. But then you have the other side, which is extreme professionals and people that make us look amazing. Where do you think the real estate business is going? Like, you've been in 5 years, you're in a pretty major market with the iBuyer program and a lot of stuff. Like, online is almost everything: social media presence, branding online, websites. Where do you think the business is going? And then how does that solve our problem to get just the agents that are bottom barrel out of the way?
Yeah. Well, that kind of ties into like why I'm so involved in my association and Young Professionals Network. Like, we have to be starting from the beginning, you know,
Right.
because when these agents are first getting their license and they don't have the training that they need, and they're going off and creating really, really bad habits and then teaching others about their bad habits, like, we got to just like stop it, you know, from the very beginning. Like, we need more training as soon as they get their license. You know, what can we do to teach them what they really, really need to be doing, and how to act professionally? Because obviously everyone knows, you know, our licensing is all about, you know, the legal aspects of our job and all of that, which is extremely important. But it's also, you know, they don't really touch on like how to interact professionally, how, you know, like, so really tackling that from the beginning, because honestly, in the future, I think that old school mentality, you know, the salesy real estate agent is going to kind of just drop off. You have to be, you know, an expert. You have to be professional. You have to be all of these things, because we are no longer the information holders. Everybody knows that. You know, when we interact with our clients, they might know more about a property than we do, because they've scoured the internet to find out, you know, everything that they can. So kind of like, you know, we have to change and to prove our value outside of that. And the agents that are still hanging on to that kind of model, I mean, I know agents in my market who still say we don't show listings that aren't our own. That's not gonna,
so stupid.
So stupid, and also a disservice to your client.
Well, yeah, what's a disservice to the public in general?
Yeah, absolutely. But that kind of like mentality, I see it dying off, and it needs to die. Like, we need to be shifting into not only, you know, yes, we have the information, but we're the advocate. You know, we're going to teach you, we're going to be here, we're going to support you. And then outside of the transaction, what are we going to do? Like, I'm a part of the Government Affairs Committee. We go to the Capitol every year and we lobby for issues that are affecting homeowners right now in our state. And so it's like, what am I providing to my clients inside and outside of the transaction? You know, you have to be an advocate all around. So that, I think, is huge for us. And I think we really have to work on, you know, spreading that knowledge and helping out the new agents. You know, the competitive mindset, we're like, like, you know, the agents out there who are like, oh, I can't let you shadow me because you're going to learn all my secrets. Like,
do you have a lot of agents like that around you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Which is shocking to me.
The thing is, though, that like you said it, the information is already out there. Zillow controls so much. Realtor.com, like MLS, their information's already out there. And guess what? They can't be you. So any agent that's listening to this, who's kind of like that, like covering their, my first brokerage that I was at, I dealt with that, and I said, hey, can I do an open house at your listing this weekend? I'd love to do it, and I'd love to help you. And they were like, no, why would you do that? And I said, well, because it helps the client get people through the door, because the agent's not able to do it. And it helps me get maybe a buyer. And they were like so against it. And I just never got that. And then for those people that are kind of like covering their, you know, their paper from everybody seeing, like, they're not you. That's the best part. You and I, we could know the exact same thing, study the exact same thing, have the exact same listing appointment and presentation, say the exact same script, word for word, minute for minute. But the fact of the matter is, they're either going to connect with you or they're going to connect with me. And that's the individual. And that's where personal development comes in. So you grow who you are and who you present to the public, right?
Right. And you speak to your own strengths. And, you know, you might have a client who's looking for somebody with those strengths. And it's a relationship, you know. And I tell people at listing appointments often, like, look, this is a relationship. We're going to be working very closely together for the next, you know, whatever, 2-3 months. And like, we have to mesh. You have to be, you know, both on both sides. It has to work. And so, yes, speaking to what your strengths are specifically and running with that is so key.
Tell me real quick, like rapid fire, what CRM do you use?
So I have Top Producer.
Okay.
I'm not as into it as I should be. Just because I kind of brought on an assistant just a couple months ago, actually. And I've kind of had her start to revamp my Top Producer, put things in there. But really, I just old school Excel sheet. I have a tracker, and every time I have a closing, I log the date, the client, the sale price, where I got that client, what agent I worked with on the other end. So any pertinent information that I might want to go back and look to, I can. And so and so that's how I know my numbers so easily. That's how I know, where my business is coming from. And it's very simple. It's just an Excel sheet. It's nothing crazy. But that's kind of what I found and I think that's actually what I added to the
your
toolbox.
gift.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spoil a surprise.
Sorry.
Just kidding. Real quick, before we talk about the gift, I want to wrap up here, but I really want to talk about agent safety. And the reason why is because I just had this conversation with a blonde female under 30 in my office the other day. And so you're a blonde female under 30 sitting in front of me right now. So I want to get your take on it. And it's not just because of that, but I kind of ask every agent, and I know that I talk about this more with female agents. I know I was talking about this with my mom the other day because my mom's getting her license. And she said, what do you do if people are coming into an open house? Like, how do you protect yourself? And I said, it's a great question. So I want to talk to you about, like, from a female perspective, but also from an agent perspective. And what do you do to protect yourself at open houses or just with the general public?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. We, as an association, we just adopted, it's this app called Forewarn. And it's free to all of our members. And it's such an incredible tool because you can plug in somebody's phone number, anybody who's calling you, anybody you're supposed to meet, plug in their phone number, and it pulls up all the public records. It's nothing that's, not available to the public, but might have been harder to find.
Sure.
Pulls up any, criminal charges they might have against them, anything, what kind of cars they drive, their address, their age. So if there are any discrepancies, ahead of time. Yeah. And that has been, we just rolled that out like a month or two ago. But it's funny that you bring that up because I was just meeting with a new agent last week and she asked me, what can I do to stay safe? And so I was talking about the app, and I actually had a situation this year. There was a guy in our market who assaulted an agent at an open house with a stun gun.
Oh, no.
And yes. So when I saw the article, and in my market, in one town over from me, when I saw the article and I saw the name, I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. He was in my phone. He had reached out to me like a year ago and asked to see properties. And I had this is the only time I've ever done this, but I had a gut feeling and I was like, you know what? It's just not worth it to me. Yep. So I referred it to an agent in my office. A male agent, and he never called him back, which I thought was weird, but I didn't think much of it. And then when I saw his name, I was like, oh my God, like that
it could have been you.
Could have been me. So that was a real eye opener. And as I'm sitting with her telling her this story, I'm like, you know what? If I had the Forewarn app back then, here's what I could have, found out from that phone call. So I plugged in his number and I saw that, he had charges of aggravated or robbery with a with a weapon or whatever, and like that would have made me absolutely not go on that appointment. So it's definitely, and I think it is available. I don't know if it's available.
What was it called again?
Associations. It's called Forewarn.
Forewarn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But before I had that, I was Googling every number. I no longer do open houses alone. I will always have a lender or somebody standing in for my lender. But it's not worth it.
No, it's not. It's not. It's totally not worth it. Totally not worth it.
Not at all worth it. Yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. So let's wrap this up and let's talk about your free gift. So Megan, you're going to be giving us something of really good value to you. So that you kind of talked about it earlier. It's the spreadsheet tracker for your closed transactions, right? Or your active and closed transactions. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yep. So what I do is, like I said, everything that I use, I just made a column. So you can add to it, take away from it. And then I have a tab for every single year. So I can go into that and I can see all the way from 2014, every single deal every single, all the details of that deal. So, it's blank for anybody else to just download and fill in. And you can just keep creating tabs for every single year. I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
simple, but it works for me. So
that is really awesome. Well, Megan Beechen from, you say Chicago or do you say suburbs of Chicago?
Suburbs. I don't really work the city, so definitely suburbs.
Well, Megan Beechen from the suburbs of Chicago, thanks so much for being on. And if you want to get a hold of Megan, you can find all her info at hibandigital.com/Megan Beechen. That's Beechen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Cool. And all of her info will be there along with Megan's free gift of the spreadsheet, which honestly I want to check out because as I enter my later years in this business, not later years, but I've been in the business. Some days it feels like forever.
Love it.
And I literally find myself going back to simplify. So if you want to check out Megan's gift, it'll be on the website again, hibandigital.com/Megan Beechen. Another way to get the gift will be to go to the Agent Toolbox, where you can find Megan's gift as well as every other guest gift that has been in the history of Real Estate Rockstars. You can check out Agent Success Toolbox at hibandigital.com/toolbox. Or for more tech people out there, you can text the word toolbox to 444-999. 444-999, text toolbox, and you can get Megan's gift and everybody else's gift. So, Megan, thank you so much for being on the show and keep us posted to your success. And Rockstar Nation really appreciates you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Our pleasure. All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get. So please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.